In this video, I'll share my initial results of using the 3Com beta bot for trading. I'll also share some tips and advice on setting this up. So if you have access to the beta of this bot, I'll share kind of the best way that I've seen to set this up. I'll also share some of the limitations to this. It definitely is in beta. I think it's a good initial test. I think it has some promise, but there's a couple things we have to talk about. And one reason, there's a lot of reasons actually why it's not ready for prime time yet. I think it has promise. I think it's something you should watch. I think they iterate very well, but the challenge is that there's just a few things on that make this not, it's not going to get past my testing stage. Okay. I know I'm sounding negative on it. I'm not. As you can see here, let me just go through the results here. These are all test trades. So everything you see here is test trades. We have 11 active deals. We have 289 finished trades. And as we go down here, you'll see a lot of these are good good percentages. I mean, for the take profit. This is a scalping bot. It's really designed to go in there, get quick trades, and get out. Okay, that's what it's really designed for. And you'll see here as I go down, the numbers look good, right? From Strat, Aeon, XVG. What else? What else have we traded here? See a lot of Aeon, Storm, Encash, PO. Encash, let me just Strat, ONT, right? And these numbers are pretty good. 1.2, 1.2, 1.48, 1.45, right? Those are some pretty good numbers, right? So these are some pretty decent numbers. The challenge is, and I'll get into this, and I don't want to be negative at first. So what I'll cover is we'll actually set up a bot. But the challenge is this 1.1, this 1.2%, for instance, on this XVG trade, is not a true return on capital. It's a true return on that actual trade. It's not a true return on capital. But we'll get into that in a second, okay? So let me first cover some tips on actually setting up this bot, all right? So I think what we'll do here is we're going to actually set up a bot for Loon, all right? And I see Loon right now is on a retracement. And so I'll start with just setting up this bot, and I'll cover how this tool kind of works at a high level, how this bot works at a high level. And then I'll get into more tips about how you should maybe look at trading with this bot, or how to look at a chart and maybe read about what's the best way to actually trade with this bot, okay? I anticipate this is probably going to be a 30 to 45 minute video. When I get into these things, I typically just try to really cover as much as I can. So I know that sometimes that's a little long for people, but I'll try to add value as we move along. So we're going to enter a trade on Loon, and I find that entering with this bot on retracements or a very clear breakout, meaning that there's just strength behind a breakout, is the best way. So Loon's on a retracement here, and it's having some rejection to the downside, which is good. All right. So let me cover how you trade or how you set up bots with this actual tool. So if we go to My Bots, you'll see that there's two options up here. There's a composite bot and there's a simple bot. All right. The difference between these is a simple bot is really just the ability to trade one pair. Okay. A composite bot, you can trade multiple pairs. And I'll just show you this just so it's very clear. Okay. So you'll see here on this bot, as I go through the setup, I can choose more than one pair. I can trade BTC ETH, BTC LTC, and BTC TNT. Okay. Now, if we go back and I choose a simple bot, which is what we're going to do on Loon, is that I can only trade one pair. Okay. So let's walk through these setups, and I'll talk about these things, and we'll break it down. All right. So the first thing you want to do is name your bot, LUN-BTC. I like to exactly name it, even though it shows it. That way I can see it when I'm actually going there and canceling it. Okay. And I will say something. This bot, there's no protection on the downside. So you got to be very careful about this. And I'll cover this in more detail as we move forward. Now, the next thing is choosing the exchange. And then we want to select the pair, BTC, LUN. All right. And then here is, I think it's confusing for a lot of people. And I'll actually walk through this exactly, which is basically this base trade size. This is the amount of size that your average trade will do. Okay. And then this safety trade size, what this is that this protects, quote unquote, your downside by basically, if you put a trade in, let me go to a chart so this is very clear. All right. We put a trade in here for Loon right here. Okay. Right. And let's say we put a trade in here for our base trade size right here. Let's say the bot does, not we, the bot does. The bot puts a trade in for 0.003. Okay. So it puts a trade in here for 0.003. And then that's our first position. Okay. And what is it looking to do? Well, it's looking to make the actual profit, whatever we put it at. For Loon, and I'll get into more detail on this, we're going to put 0.52. Okay? That's our take profit. All right? Now, if we go look at Loon, let's say that we enter a position here for our 003, right? And then let's say it retraces down, okay? And it retraces down, let's say 1.5%. This is where our safety trade will be placed. All right, so we'll have two trades. We'll have one here and we'll have one here. This first one will be 0.003, and then the safety trade will be whatever we put for our safety trade. All right, so let's go enter that, which we're going to put 006. Now you might be asking, why would you do that? That makes no sense. It does make sense in the way that this bot is designed, because what it is really looking to do is basically you have a position here where you're looking to make some there, right? And basically the price has really dropped. And what happens on most of these things, right, is people buy the dip, right? So you buy a little bit more of a position here, and then you'll make up, because it's basically double that position. When you take your profit at 0.52 here, you'll make up, or you'll get close to making up that loss, right? So that's the way to look at it. Is it's dollar cost averaging, scalping in a way. There's I could go on many different tangents here, so I'm trying to just cover the overview first. That's the way it's supposed to work in theory, okay? So basically, what would happen next, let's say that it continues retracing, okay? Let's say that it goes down another 1.5%, all right? So let me put this to 1.5. You would have then another trade right here, and it would be your safety trade size. So what would you have? What did we put our safety trade to? 0.06, right? You would have another trade of 0.006, okay? So you'd have another safety trade of 0.006. Let's say it keeps going down. Let's say you left it on overnight. Well, you'd have another trade here. Now, what tends to happen in crypto, right, is it does retrace and then it does bounce back, right? So that's kind of the mindset behind the safety trade, right? Obviously, if Bitcoin tanks, maybe 5 to 6%, 7-8%, alts usually follow, right? So this is where it can be very dangerous using this bot, because there's no downside protection. There's no triggers on anything. It will do this regardless as long as you have it turned on, okay? Let's talk about the positive scenario. Well, the positive scenario is that you would enter. I should have started there. So what's the positive scenario? You should never in trading think positively first, okay? This is just general tips. Never think positively first. Always assume you're going to lose your money, all right? If you want one of the true success of actually trading well, assume you're going to lose money on every trade you do, all right? Go into it paranoid you're going to lose money. So let's say that you bought here. How this works in the best case scenario is that, let me use the other arrow here, is that it would buy a position here, and then it would cash you out here, right? And we should probably do more. Let's do 10-minute time frames. So it would buy a position here, right? And it would cash you out here. And then it would buy another position here, and then it would cash you out here. And then it would buy another position here, and then it would cash you out here, okay? And then it would buy another position here, and then what would happen is that you wouldn't get cashed out most likely, okay? And then it would buy some of your safety trade positions, right? You'd probably get picked up as a safety trade right here, and then you'd get cashed out here, okay? See how that works? And I know this isn't, I'm not illustrating this the best, but hopefully you can see how that works, right? So let's set up Loon. Let's make sure that we're going to still set up Loon. Yeah, it looks to be good. We're still have rejection to the downside. Looks to be a little bit of a sideways trading, maybe getting some consolidation here for another possible push up, okay? Potentially. So let's set up Loon. All right, so we're going to do a base size. We're just going to go real small with this. We're going to do 0.0003 and then safety trade size 0.006, okay? And then pretty much you can put your take profit anything you want. I suggest anything between 0.50 and 1.0. Remember, you're looking to get in and out. The max safety trades, these are the max amount of safety trades that it will do. I typically put this to 5. That's even more than what I would like because there's not a lot of actual downside protection. The other thing is max active safety trades count. I know this is confusing, okay? Basically, and this is one of the downfalls of this tool, is that this will be the number of max active safety limit orders on the books for you, meaning that's capital reserved. That's BTC reserved. It's capital you cannot put in play. And I'm going to harp on this time and time again because I know there's people that say that they're getting 1%, but they haven't done the true math because they haven't looked at the opportunity cost and they haven't really figured out if they just did one trade with that same capital and made 2% or 3% in the matter of 15 to 20 minutes, they'd make more than sometimes their capital that's tied up with this tool. All right. I'm being harsh with this because you got to do the math for this stuff. Right? So that's just a given. So let's go on. The next thing is really important. This is the price deviation to open safety trades, okay? And it's a %, all right? Now, what I suggest on this is typically you do not want to do anything below 1. It will matter per asset, and I will share in this video how to actually do that. But this is pretty simple, actually. Especially on Loon, all we have to do is say, okay, well, what's the movement between a tick mark? The movement between a tick mark is 1.5%, right? And then all we have to really look at is the average movement of price action, right? Given the amount of time frame we want to stay in this actual trade. And I can go to the 1 hour, right? So we're going to put 1.5%. All right. And I'll get into more detail about how to do this, but we'll do 1.5%. Now, the next thing that you want to do is set your actual signal. Obviously, you can do manually. And manually means that you basically turn it on and then you can turn it off, okay? So if you just don't want to use a signal, then you can do manually and then you can just go in there and turn these on when you actually want them to be operating. The other thing is you could have it open a new trade ASAP and then it will be basically trading ongoing until you turn it off. The other one is you can do a strong buy or a buy or strong buy on signal view. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that is basically this right here on trading view. Sorry, is that right now Bitcoin is sitting at a buy. And then if it's in this blue section, it's a strong buy. Okay. So that's what that would be using. So if we go back here, we're going to do a buy or strong buy. I suggest if you're risk adverse and you want to use the signal, you do a strong buy. If you want more trades, you do a buy or strong buy. Okay. I'm in testing phase, so I want to do more trades. Created bot. Now the next thing that you want to do is actually click start and then it will start trading. All right. Let's see if it opened up any positions. I guess we should check and see, is it a buy or strong buy, right? Because that will matter whether or not it opens up positions right away. I'm pretty sure it's a buy. Yeah, so see, it's a buy. So Loon's at a buy right now. So it should open up a position. But as we visit here, we see it did not. Now, it did open up another position that I'm testing on ARN, and it's the same numbers. So if we click on ARN here, and I'll go through this, we'll use ARN now. So we set that up on Loon, but we're going to use ARN here so I can talk about kind of some of the things you need to think about when you use this bot. So you'll see here with ARN, It has the same take profit 0.5. It's not 0.52, but 0.5. It has signals as buy, and it has the trade size of 003 and 006, right? Max safety trades is 5, and then the max active trades is 3, okay? Now, this is where this is great, because let's look and see what happened already. I think this actually already closed a trade. You'll see power just started as well. So power just kicked in. So I had another test bot on actual power. And as we go through here, you'll see that ARN already did get a profit here in the time I was doing this video. So it actually found a 0.5% profit, or half a point profit, right? So that's good. It looks like it's on another path to make a profit again. So that's great. All right. Let's get into a little bit of why it is great, but it's not super great. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but it is. So let's jump in here and let's look at this, okay? So here's what it's done over here, okay? And if I copy this, and we're going to go to ARN, okay? And we're going to put this here because this will actually help me explain why this is good, but it's not as good as it should be. And we'll talk about that, okay? Now, first up, there's no downside protection, okay? So if Bitcoin tanks right now and this alt goes down maybe 5 or 6%, right? We're going to have a bunch, well, the max we would have, if we go back here, is we would have 5 safety trades opened, okay? But we have 3 active ones, okay? Now, what are active safety trades? Well, this is where this isn't the best, because basically there are limit orders on the books for the amounts that you see here, okay? So let me make this very clear. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to just write on this so that it's very clear, okay? Okay, so here's how to look at this, and here's what's happening, all right? So remember, we have the max safety trades is 5. That's the max that it would ever do. And then we have the max active safety trades at 3, okay? And then those are going to be set at 1.5% of the last purchase, okay? So if we look at ARN, we have a position right now that is still in play for 20 ARN, okay? And it's here. And then we're looking to cash out of that position at 0.52, right? Or 0.50, which is what it said at ARN. But we also have capital tied up, BTC tied up, in 3 limit buy positions at 41 ARN, 40 ARN, and 42 ARN. This is BTC tied up, okay? So basically, what do we have on... So we're basically we have this amount of BTC tied up to make 1% on this BTC, okay? And actually, I misspoke. So what I did, just to make this very clear, and I'm sure most people watching this, you already got this, right? So you're probably saying, look, I get it. I get the numbers. You don't need to drone on. I like to include things just to be completely clear, okay? So what I did is I changed the numbers to actual 100 US dollars, okay? Or whatever, 100 of your currency, right? So let's say that on this trade here, this here would be $100, and then we're doubling it here for our safety trade size. Now remember, the safety trade puts capital you cannot put in play, you cannot churn through on the market or in limit orders, all right? So this is really important, because what does that mean? Well, we're looking to make 0.5%, right? We're looking to make half a point, right, on $100, which would mean that we'd make 50 cents here. Okay, we'd make 50 cents on this move here if it goes good, but which would be 0.5% on $100. Okay, except we have $700 of actual capital that we cannot use. That's actually, you could say, put at risk at this trade, which it is, but that is actually tied up. So there's opportunity cost there. So let me ask you, what is the actual? What is 50%? What is 50 cents of $700. For the really smart people out there, I'm sure you said 0.007%, right? That's our true return on capital. All right. That is our true return on capital for this trade if it goes in our favor, which is 0.007%. It's not even 0.5%. It's not a half a point. It's 0.07% or 0.07%, right? Less than, it's obviously less than a half a point. So that's the two downsides to this tool is it ties up your capital, okay, on these safe trades, because the lowest you can put these two, the lowest that I can put my max active safety trade is 3. If we go and edit this bot, it says max safety trade count 3 to 100, all right? And then the max active safety trades, the max active safety trades, it says 3 to 10. And then the max safety trades, meaning that the max it would ever do, you can put that anywhere between 3 and 10. And actually, I should put this to 3 just to protect my downside. That's what I should be doing. But once again, and this goes to the other point, there's no downside protection. There's no stop losses. There's nothing else. There's no triggers. It's strictly a bot to say that, hey, the world's always going to be great, right? There's always going to be a retracement. The world's always going to be great. These things are always going to work out. So, like I said, it's a good, I think it's a good tool. If you know this channel, if you know the other stuff that I do and everything else, I recommend this tool quite a bit. I think it's really good. Where I think that you just have to think about whether or not it makes sense, obviously, is, and you'll see here, I've also had some trades actually go through. So ONT finally cashed out. ARN cashed out. Now here on Storm, I just got very impatient with Storm. So I just turned that off because once again, think about this, okay? If Storm's not moving and I have this is my base order, but then I have additional capital and something's not moving, how I have even more, I'm making even more less ROI, right? So this, like I said, this is a good initial bot. The couple things that I've already mentioned make it so that it really, for me, doesn't make our real trading. So it's not going to hit our real trading account yet. But I'll continue to test it, and I know they're going to continue to iterate it because they've already released some new things as well. So it's pretty, if you know this, I think you should test it out, put it to action, especially when things are moving. I think it works really well. You'll see here I didn't have to do anything, and already, ARN's cashed out twice here at 0.5 and 0.49, right? But once again, if we go back to the math, right, I'm not really making 0.5. I'm, making 0.07 of my total capital, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, let me just end the video with, and I'll be covering this in more detail in my training. So if you're in the training, we're covering bots, and we'll dive into deep with some other bots as well. I'm not going to mention the other bots in this video, but we'll be actually covering bots in detail. And in that, I'll really go into detail about how to use these bots, how to use some more of these sophisticated bots. But this bot is not the most sophisticated at the moment, but it has a lot of promise, okay? So how do you look at what do you want to actually put your profit levels at and everything else? Well, you're looking for the average movement of that asset, okay? The other thing that I found that works really well, and as I mentioned this in another video, and I'll link to that other video down in the description, is there is, let's see, the Ichimoku SMA gain. So yeah, so here, there's an indicator on here, and let me actually turn off some of these things here. So this indicator here, the SMA gain with these 3 lines, these 3 channels that you see here, this I actually find works really well to turn the bot on, okay? Which is when, for instance, GRS, right, hit this level where it paints green right here, this is in trading view, then that's when I would want to turn my bot on. And you'll see if I would have turned it on here, I would have done pretty well, right? That's pretty good. Let's go to another one. Well, let's go to Loon, L-U-N, BTC, right? You're probably saying, well, why didn't you check it on Loon? Well, you'll see here, about the time that we did it, it was approaching that buy range, right? So it's in that buy range. So we would have turned on Loon, and then it's in that buy range. And percentage-wise, based on just my experience with this indicator, it seems to do pretty well on things that actually go up, okay? On retracements. I could go into the other indicators here. Everything looks like it has an upside here. So we'll, I anticipate we'll see Loon actually pop up here. And let me see, do we have any? No, power. ONT opened another position, and ARN. We're in another position in XEM, and you'll see here, this is the other thing with XEM. I think XEM's just been going like a powerhouse today. So XEM, right? Aeon, XEM. I don't know how many times I could say that. You just see that. It's really moving today. So this is a prime example of, if it didn't tie up as much capital, that'd be great, right? Because that would be a true ROI of that capital that's at play. All right. So the initial test results are good. I like what I see so far, and I will continue to do videos on this. I'll continue to watch the updates, and as new updates come out, I'll do tutorial videos and everything else. And it's something that I plan to support, and hopefully it gets to a level where I highly endorse it. That's really what I'm looking to happen here. Okay. I got on a tangent, so I apologize. I think I was going to talk about how you actually look at setting some of these numbers. Once again, in the training, I'll get into a lot more detail, but basically what you want to do is you just want to see the average movement, right, between bars. You want to look at the average movement between bars, and then look at the tick mark displacement, okay? So the tick mark displacement, that will tell you, and each tick mark for every asset is a little bit different, all right? So, you know, ARN is a certain percentage, right? And then if we go to XVG, BTC, right? XVG is a certain percentage as well, right? So that's kind of what you want to keep in mind. But I would suggest that as you go about setting this up, you highly analyze that asset. I've already been trading many of these things. So for instance, if you're in my Discord group, you know that I trade Aeon every single day, that I trade Strat every single day if the opportunity presents, right? If the opportunity presents. But usually it presents it every single day. So trade Aeon, I think that's how you say it, every single day. So I knew the chart well. We've analyzed the chart. We've crunched the numbers on the chart. So we kind of know where to set the numbers and everything else, right? I'm still, I know I keep going to this, I'm still not happy about the capital tie-up, okay? If there wasn't the capital tie-up to this, then it would be it would be doing very well. I would say I would be leaning closer to recommending this at a higher level, just because even though there's no downside protection, right? Well, the actual ROI on the actual what it does is pretty good, because it would be tough for me to scalp XEM, ARN, ONT, Power, Aeon, these other. So I'll go on here with this here. I'm testing ETH positions in AST, VIB, Steam, and BRD. Okay, so that's what I'm testing in these positions here. And so for some reason, oh, it's running out of funds. Okay, so I need to put more ETH over there. All right, so it's not a true test because it's running out of funds. All right, that's good to know. So this is another reason why you should look at these things. So obviously I need to put more ETH so it actually can be a true test. But once again, it's running out of funds. Why? Because all of that capital that's in safety trades and everything else is not being put into play. All right, so I know I keep going back to that and you're probably sick of it already. And actually, I bet there's someone that's saying, look, I think you're missing a kind of obvious thing you can do, right? And this is a position IOTA here. And, you know, I say these things like they're spelled, so I'm sure that's not the name of it. IOTA is myota, actually. So M-I-O-T-A, but I say IOTA. I say whatever they look like, okay? That's the way I say them. Anyways, if we look at this here, this position is set up a little bit differently, okay? Let's go here and edit this. you'll see that I have the base trade size at 0.008 and the safety trade size at 0.001. So I know there's smart people out there that said, well, you know what? You need to do, obviously you're doing it wrong. Just put your safety trade size to less, right? Here's the challenge with that, okay? If we just go to Steam, and yeah, I've tested that, okay? If we go to Steam and we look at Steam right now, you'll see here, right? Or IOTA, sorry. I don't know why I said Steam. I know why I said Steam because I saw I just got stopped out of a trade there. So you'll see here, if we look at IOTA, where, yes, I have safety trades, but the safety trades are a lot less. What are they? This is 0.008. They're a lot less. So if there's a retracement here, right? Well, and let's say that I get picked up here, right? And then it's trying to dollar cost my loss and cash me out. Well, I probably will get cashed out here, but I'm going to be only cashed out on a 0.001 actual safety trade size, okay? And I haven't tested this enough, okay? So I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it will keep me in that trade until I actually get to a profit level that actually matches what I'm trying to make, okay? So if you just do the math, once again, I'm not going to run through the math again, but if you do the math on this trade, I haven't tested this a lot just because I've tested the best way to do this is actually have your trade size, your safety trade size be basically double or more than your base trade size, okay? That seems to work pretty well. It seems to work in the market that we're in right now, okay? So I know some people, the smart ones out there, are probably saying, well, just put your base trade size here and then put this really low, and then you're not tying up as much capital. That's true. So, but that also, if this thing is, look, that works for a couple days, right? I'm trying to understand and set this up to work for a long time to understand the true numbers, and this math would not work. I haven't fully done a spreadsheet on it or anything else, but this math I don't believe would work, okay? Given how this is designed to trade and how it works in other bots. So last time I'm going to mention other bots, but that's just, it's one of the things I should mention. And actually, I just paused the video here because this is showing exactly what I'm talking about, a huge risk to the downside. So what's happening with Bitcoin right now? Well, it is testing. What is it doing? It's going down, and it's testing 8,000 right now. It's going to test 8,000, I think. Maybe it might stop here at this resistance here. Who knows, right? So 8,100, 8,200, right? So it just went down. All right, if we go to the 5-minute time frame, so it did just go down. It had some kind of support step in maybe, but volume does not look good there. So I anticipate it's going to continue down. All right. Well, let's see what actually is happening here. So if we refresh, well, this sucks, right? So I'm red pretty much. Yeah, I've made 0.49% on that last trade, right? But I'm down $14 right here. But everything is in the red, right? And well, what do? Okay, this is where there's no downside protection. I can't easily go in here and I can cancel all these things. The challenge is I don't want to cancel them first, okay? This is just a good, just for completeness. What I really should do is that I should turn them off first, where it says no new trades. I should turn these off. There's no one button here to say turn everything off, but I should turn all these off because this is basically saying that it should open up new trades, right? So now one thing is that typically retracements like this on Bitcoin, right? If there's still strength in the market, right? This is a typical retracement. Support will kick in and then also will respond as well. Sometimes, typically, right? Well, right? And this is saying that I'm sitting here and I can actually turn this off right now. All right? I happened to be doing a video when this happened. I wasn't like, I don't know, doing something, taking the dogs for a walk or something, right? I was actually here. So what do I do now? This is where, look, if you're in a couple trades, it's a lot easier, right? But how many trades? I have 14 active trades. So what do I look through each one of these trades? Do I shut them all off now and take the loss right now? Or do I let my safety orders kick in and take the, to see if they will make up the difference, right? Well, I'm going to let the safety orders actually take over. So I'm not going to do anything. So I'm not emotionally trading. I've already looked at the charts on these things, right? I've already analyzed these. The other thing I didn't mention that I should have mentioned at the beginning, everything that I'm trading here, I would be okay holding for a little bit longer, okay? Everything here. Everything that I'm trading, I'm okay holding for a little bit longer, meaning like a month or two, all right? Everything I'm trading. I'm not trading anything in here that I would not want to hold for a month or two, if not a little bit longer. So my worst case scenario is that I just take it off this thing, hold it for a while, and just wait out the market with the expectation that potentially I will get back to profit. Okay, so this is a good thing that Bitcoin's doing this. I almost want to just watch this live and just like almost just keep this going just as a, I guess, a lesson towards using these type of tools and why there needs to be some type of downside capital control. There's no downside capital control here, right? Let me refresh it. So what's our number at here? $16, right? Whatever that is. So we're at $17, right? So of course we've made, what is that, $115? So that's not bad for this number here, that capital. I mean, it's not a true ROI, the actual capital we risked here, but we're still in the green, right? So the question is, and this will be actually an interesting, I think this is the first time I've had this many trades open where there's actually a retracement on Bitcoin, right? So there was some support. There's some good volume there in the 5 minute. Let's look at the actual 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so just maybe a test of weak hands retracement. It's the I think it's the Asian afternoon, so on Monday. So potentially that could be what it is. Never know. We might see more of a retracement here, down to the top of the Ichimoku cloud here, maybe to the couple of these moving averages. This is not a Bitcoin video, so you're probably already saying, hey, I don't need this information. But once again, what if I was sleeping? What if I wasn't around, right? Now this might just be a retracement here. If we see here, you could argue that some people would be looking at this as, if support steps in here, we're still kind of on an upside trend. So this is just a test. So support and volume actually looks pretty good here. So both the buyers and sellers seem to be participating in this move. So that's actually, if this still does close down a little bit, but there's I'd like to see more rejection here. So in this hour, we've got, or this 4 hour time frame. In this 4 hour time frame, we got an hour. Volume looks okay, pretty good there actually. So I'd like to see some rejection here to the downside, and even if it does go and test this a little bit more, I want to see more volume. Definitely want to see more volume. So we'll see. But once again, this isn't about this Bitcoin, it's about this. Let's just refresh it and just see where we're at. And let's look at some charts. Let's do that, okay? I know this is much more than you bargained for here. You're like, hey. So you'll see there's a retracement there. XEM. This one actually is the one we probably should be concerned about because, yeah, see that run? We made money all the way up there, right? But look at that. We probably should turn off this trade. Yeah. So I'm going to turn off this trade just because that run is not sustainable. So that's just not sustainable. So it needs to be turned off. So once again, this is not something that you can actually just forget about. I'm going to panic sell it. Once again, so I'm panic selling. You know, they really should. See, I'm a big verbiage type of person, and I didn't panic sell that, okay? I know I clicked the button, I didn't panic sell it. I sold it because the trade was not working out for me. All right. So I know that's a small point. I know you're looking and saying, hey, that's such a small point. Yeah, but I didn't panic sell it. I sold it because the trade was not a good trade anymore. So now I'm going to turn it off here. Okay. So this is just a prime example of tools not built by a true trader. I know you're probably like saying, hey, that's such a minor point. Seriously? No, it's a big deal because I didn't panic sell it. Okay. So you can't be thinking that way. All right. Just the fact that this says panic sell, it's an emotional phrase. All right. You don't trade emotionally. All right. Why did I get out of this trade? Well, yeah, it might catch up. Okay. And there might be support, and there's support here, and there's volume, right? But look at that move. Okay. 22% move. All right. Is there a higher likelihood based on where this is at that it's going to retrace or that it's going to continue? Okay. It's Sunday night on the East Coast. It's like 9:29 my local time PM. Okay. And let's see what time it is in Asia. Right? It is 11:29 a.m. in Tokyo. Okay? So yeah, there's opportunity that there's some trading that could happen here, right? But let's look at another chart. You know, this is new to this exchange, right? And it got some support and it ran up, okay? So it had a run up. Let's look at Encash. I do this in these videos. I hope you find value. What did Encash do? Same type of thing, right? Had this run up, and then it also had this run up. We still have a position right there in Encash. So it had this run up, and what did it do? Well, it did kind of find support, so there might be still opportunity to get our capital back here, but it, well, we panic sold, quote unquote. And you'll see here it just went down, right? And then it found support again. Now it's kind of trading in this range. ARN. Yeah, see that? So some of our safety trades probably got hit. Let's actually look. And let's see here. Yep, one of our safety trades got picked up at 41, and we have a sell order on the books at 15,161. Okay, so this is a good example. This will provide more insight. Okay, so there's a sell order on the books at here is the sell order. Okay, that's where the sell order is at, and we have two positions that were picked up. We have our position up higher, which is a smaller position of 20 ARN, right? And then we have our other position, which was right around here, right? Well, let me give you the exact number so that you're exactly on top of it. Have another position here. There's one position there, okay? And then there's one position here. So this is our next position. This is our safety position. Okay. This is our first position. And then this is like where we were going to get cashed out, or where we're looking to get cashed out here. I think that moved. Maybe it didn't. Is there. Okay. So that's what's playing out right now. And you'll notice there is a support for a second kicking in here. Right? But if Bitcoin continues to do what it does, right, then this might retrace down. And sometimes these things retrace down all the way down here, right? Below support. People start panic selling. People who use their own panic sell button. They don't use this one. They use their own, right? Greed and fear. So we're looking to make some up. Or maybe that was because, yeah, so, yeah, no, that's because I sold that position. So, you know, I'm just going to wait. Let it play out. Let the market do what the market does. So, I'm still, well, let me share my thoughts just so that I can wrap this up without leaving you hanging on where I'm at. I'm fine waiting till tomorrow afternoon. Okay. So really at this point in time, I think either the Asian market's going to come through and support this, or the Asian market's going to push this down and test the 72, 74, 7600 level, this whole level here, you know, and then, or it's going to trade sideways. And then in the morning, the Eastern US kind of Eastern seaboard market is going to push it down for a weak hand test, you know, right around 7,800, and then it might push up, or, you know, it might push up. So I'm still long on Bitcoin at this point in time. I know a lot of people are thinking that it's 72, 74. But once again, this isn't on Bitcoin. This is on this tool. There's two downsides with this current bot right now. It seems to work really well. There's three, okay? And I'll end the video on this. There's three. Number one, there's no downside protection, all right? So there's no triggers if Bitcoin does something, or there's just no stop losses, nothing like that. Number two, capital lockup, okay? Because your true ROI is not represented with this number here. This number here is not my true ROI. And number three, it's in beta, and it's just hard to really, it's hard to manage these things, right? I guess that's why I noticed this earlier. I noticed that there was no trades active here. So you'll see that there's nothing here. And I guess that shows me that it's, I need to fund the actual test account a little bit more with ETH. That's why it's actually not trading there. So that's good to know. Once again, it's in beta. So it's not something I would put a large amount of capital towards, but it's good for testing. And I think as it moves forward, there's some promise here. And I'll be doing updates. And I think this will be one of my recommended tools as we move forward. I think that as they refine this and listen to the community and everything else, I think it'll be one of the recommended bots I would recommend. The third thing I didn't mention is that it works really well in an up market. A lot of these bots do. It doesn't work obviously in a down market. No bot really does, but some bots do better than others. So it assumes it's everything here is an assumption that everything's going good. All right. The second that things do not go good and it's alt wide, you're getting a lot of bags, a lot. And there's no easy way for me to turn off everything right now. I can't turn off everything right now. There's not one button to say, hey, everything turn off. All right. So if you see here, if I go to my bots, there's nothing here that says I can just turn it off, right? So I can, well, I just did. So I just did turn off strat. So I can, okay, they must have just added that. So that's great. So I can actually turn it on right here on this page. See, you learn something new as you go and look and see and start pushing buttons. So they're good at iterating. So one thing I will say is that the team here is pretty good at iterating. They're not the best at fully thinking out some of these things. So I wish they would do a little bit better job of planning these, because I think they'd have a lot more success. But so far, it's one of the few tools on the market that I recommend, and I see myself still recommending. Any questions, leave a comment down below. If you have any feedback whatsoever, you'll find links to various tools I use, also links to the Discord group, and also you'll see a primer doc for some of the advice I give for trading cryptos. Definitely check that out if you haven't already checked that out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.